Alrighty, everybody. So by this point, we tested out all three glue gunner paths. So we are now doing the glue gunner review. And as you can see, there's a bunch of holes here and there because I took off the paths that do not do any damage whatsoever. So, just like the usual reviews, I'm going to kind of be going over the generals, which cross paths are better, compare them to other towers, etc., etc. So, jumping right in, we've got the 200, which is the very first thing. The basic one, I guess. Space Group Moab, size around 40 for 700 bucks for an efficiency of about 18. Okay, pretty standard to start. Comparing that with the 210, I had to put this in parentheses because otherwise it would not keep it this way. The 210, so wait, there's no 002, so wait, hold on. Yeah, we're gonna count this as the middle path. Whoa, okay, hold on, there's a lot of typos in here. Now, let me fix that. There we go. Okay, 210. Again, Moab's around 40. A little bit more expensive and also a little bit less efficient. So it didn't really change anything to go for a glue splatter. Now, the middle path, I guess, the second tier, same thing, but it's $1,800 this time, so its efficiency more than doubled, which makes it awful for Moabs. And, well, I mean, all of them pop the balloons, so that's not really the issue here, unfortunately. As for bottom path, the first tier, so we're going to compare the first tier here and the first tier here. Same thing. Moab's around 40, just $200 more expensive, so it's $5 less efficient. So it's like higher. Well, so it's less efficient by $5, which is not good. If you go now for the second tier we get Moab's around 40 for $1,400. Again, just kind of like the second tier middle path, except that it's a little bit less expensive. Still a bad efficiency. They still can't pop Moabs. That's just the fact here. Now third tier, we're going to start back from the top path again, because we can actually test the third tier. So third tier, Moab's around 40, $3,000. Bad, really, really awful efficiency compared to the second tier. And so I know they buffed him recently, and he's great against balloons, but do not use him against Moabs. He can't pop a Moab. Period. Compare that to the third tier middle path, same thing, but this time it's $4,000, not almost 3. So efficiency of 97 for a third tier, which is really bad if you're talking about like if you're comparing it to other towers, or I guess the standard that is being set right now. And if you compare that to the bottom path is Moab glue, so it does slow it down and it does do damage to it, but it's still not enough to beat round 40. $5,000. You still can't beat round 40. You do the same thing with $5,000 as you do with $700, almost. So there, efficiency of $125. Again, not good. At least buff-wise, it's not good compared to the other towers. Moving on to fourth tiers, we got the fourth tier going. Now this one finally beats Moab's. Finally, we've got a difference. You go from Moab to ZOMG for space balloons. Moab's to BSBs for group balloons. Round 79, he almost doubled the rounds for a little more than double the cost, but still, 85 in efficiency for a fourth tier I think is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's finally redeemed itself. It got past that Moab stage. Goodness. Glue Strike does not pop the entirety of the Moab layer, or I guess of the Moab in general. I don't remember if it goes through, if it gets it to ceramics or not, but round 40 dies for $8,000. Almost 200 efficiency is really bad for a tower. I mean, for the glue gunner, I guess it makes sense, but if you compare it to any other tower, it's bad. Comparing that with the bottom fourth tier, we've got, Moab's around 40, $9,000. It's the worst efficiency. So if you had to pick a third tier, you got 68, you got 97, or you got 125 right here. So top half is the best third tier. Top half is also the best fourth tier. 85 to 190 E3 to 225. So by far the best fourth path is again the top path. Once again, because he's meant to solo or to do more damage to balloons. Now we move on to fifth tiers, and this gets interesting. Fifth tiers, with or without cross paths, B80s all across the board. Round 97, all across the board, which again is really far if you got one kind of buffed or semi-buffed glue on the track, and that's basically it. Now, they are kind of I mean, it's not that expensive. It's only about $30,000, so its efficiency is about 300-ish, a little bit more. 310, we could say, which is a very efficient fifth tier. Very good. Solid thing to go for, maybe even in chimps, you know? You put him, like, maybe 3/4 of the way towards the back of the map, and let him pop the balloons, while everything else can focus on the Moabs and the BAD, you know? So, yeah, it's definitely got that going for him. It's a mega balloons popper. The fifth tier, cross paths. Before I move on, I'm going to talk about cross paths. Now, the thing is, here's the cross paths, they both get to the same space balloons. They both get to the same group balloons. They both get to the same round. The only thing that changes is the price. And the 502, as you can see, is like $300, almost $400 cheaper. So that's why his efficiency is $4 per round, like, better. So yeah, the 502 is the best cross path for the top path, despite the buffs that he gave to the middle path. Because the problem is not about how many balloons it can attack; it's about the amount of damage it can do. Middle path, if you want to do damage, you go 250. That's pretty clear. And doesn't get very far, really, for a fifth tier. I mean, Moabs, BFBs gets to around 50 for $24,000. It's efficiency about 475, which is, like, not the worst, but that's not great at all. So, yeah, I would recommend using the Glue Storm as more of a support base, just in case anybody still decided to use it as a damage-based tower, which clearly doesn't work very well. Now, bottom path is way better, at least than the middle path. Not than the top path, but then the middle path. Because, now, 005 deals damage, and honestly, if it does a lot more damage than I expected. If you guys want to know how much damage, go check out last video with the bottom path glue gunner. It's crazy. It's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. So, Space OMGs, Group BFBs, round 61. Really, the only problem are the regrows, and basically it's Pierce. That's the problem. This is $33,000 though, so its efficiency is actually even worse. It's $541 per round. So it's worse than the middle path just because of that lack of damage, because of the regrow aspect. That's the biggest issue. A little bit Pierce too. Now you give him Pierce. He splatters a lot more balloons, right? It's an 025. Great. BADs, Space BADs, Group OMGs. So it does improve. Unfortunately, it only gets to around 62 before it gets overrun by just sheer amounts of balloons, which, I mean, for a piercing glue gunner is kind of a bad image. So clearly the 025, I mean, yes, it's meant to stall, but, like, if you're gonna give him Pierce, not, like, 3. That doesn't change much at all. So, for an extra $500, yeah, it's basically the same thing. So, whether you want to or not, yeah. Now, the 205 is a little bit different, because it does more damage. Okay, the 205 does more damage than not giving that. Because I don't know if it's like a thing where it like stacks the damage of the bottom path plus the damage of the top path, which could kind of make sense, so it kind of like combines them. But it also does like... Yeah, I think that's what happens, because when the bottom path, when the glue attacks, it hits the balloon or the mob, and it does initial damage. The top path gives DOT damage, which, if you don't know what that means, is damage over time. So you've got the initial damage plus the damage over time, which equals more damage. So we got to group ZOMGs, spaced ZOMGs, so spaced and grouped. It's the same order. There we go. Whatever. And so, yeah, so obviously didn't do so well against the spaced BADs, apparently, for some reason. I don't know why it didn't make it against spaced ZOMGs and the other did. But anyhow, it did make it all the way up to round 79, so you could tell that was a big difference. But again, round 79 is a massive regroup problem, a whole Pierce problem, and unlike 61, round 79 is longer, and instead of regrow zebras, you've got regrow rainbows, which is another layer up, and it ultimately proved too difficult for the 205. It is also more expensive, $1,000 more expensive than not cross-pathing it at all, but it is way more efficient due to the sheer amount of rounds that it beat on its own. So, making it quite efficient. So obviously, cross-path-wise, 205 is clearly the king here. Congratulations. More damage is clearly the way to go when you're going solo. Now, if we're comparing this to other towers, we've got efficiency, let's say 310, 475, and I'm going to say 500. So 300, 475, 500. Let's see. Less efficient than the Dart Monkey. Less efficient than the Boomerang, unfortunately. Not by much, but a little bit. Okay, it is more efficient than the Bomb Shooter, thankfully. This has got that going for him. Definitely less efficient than the Tack Shooter. And, yeah, less efficient than the Ice Monkey? Ooh, that's not too good. So yeah, Glue Gunner, very support-based. It's the almost the worst semi-buff tower. I said, almost the worst semi-buff primary tower. I was going to say tower in the game. The problem with that is we did, what, 6-ish or so towers? There are still way more towers, as you can see, that need to be tested. And I can tell you right now, I bet you the Alchemist is going to be one of the worst. I'm actually going to take off the Banana Farm because buff Banana Farms, I think, make more money. We'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, in terms of the Glue Gunner, which is what we're talking about right now, very support based. So again, if you want to use the Glue Gunner, use it as a support. Make sure you have good DPS options beforehand. If you want more examples of that, you could go see like ISAB or someone like that who, I don't know if you were aware, whenever he salvages runs, he usually adds a Glue Gunner and it works. So it goes to show Glue Gunner is very support-based. But, you know, ultimately it's up to you to decide. So, these were all the results I've gotten from the Glue Gunner. If you guys enjoyed that, please hit the like button. If you want to support the channel even further, maybe feeling extra generous, maybe you're just super excited for the live stream and want to see it in action, definitely hit that subscribe button right underneath this video. We're getting closer and closer, so I'm getting really excited to see what we can do, for the live stream. So stay tuned for that. And next video we're going to be starting off in the military. So look out for that and have a good day.